Afternoon session. Our speaker is Dr. Anil Chavan. He is a postdoctoral fellow at the Planetary Science Division at PRL Ahmedabad. He will be giving a lecture on application of remote sensing in the field of science. Over to you, Dr. Anil.
Hello.
Yes, sir. You're audible.
Okay. So all are here.
Almost 22 people are here. Maybe 4 or 5 will also join. But you can start your lecture, sir. It is not an issue.
No, I was told that 3 o'clock I have to start.
Okay. No worries. No worries. Sir, you can start at 3. No worries. Okay.
We can start or we have to wait?
Sir, we can start at 3. No worries. We still have 10-15 minutes left. We'll start at 3 o'clock.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Slides are visual, sir.
Yes, sir. Your slides are visible.
Okay. So we can start, I think.
Okay. Sure.
So today I have given a topic on remote sensing applications in the field of science. So this will be the very broad topic, and it will take around entire one course is required for this, but we'll be highlighting the major things, but not the in detail. So what are the before going to the applications, we should know the what is the remote sensing and what is the science behind the remote sensing. Is it how it is important in different field of science, and how interdisciplinary research can be done with the help of the remote sensing. So basically, this is a kind of a technique or a tool which can be used to gather an information, and it can be used in different domains of the science, or any a geographical. It can be put into a geographical information system and generating many things. We will be looking into that. So the first slide would be a picture is worth of 1,000 words. So we all know this aerial images or anything which has a lot of information depends on the what are the perspectives of the people who are observing the things. Looking into this image of Earth, we can see the cyclones and the cloud coverage and everything. So these kind of images can be taken with the help of different wavelength sensor and other things. So image has more importance than what you'll be giving some a story kind of a thing, and you'll be creating some illustration kind of thing. So in that way, the images are very important. So the remote sensing, basically we'll be going through the brief kind of a definitions of remote sensing. So it is in the science of deriving information about the object without actually coming in contact with it. So this will be the technique which we won't go to the field, or it is not required to visit physically, but there are some kind of a technique which can gather the information from those land. Any kind of I'm being a geologist, I will be more specific on the lands, but it will gather the information about the meteorological things and other. So more elaborative definition of the remote sensing is it is in practice of deriving information about the Earth's land water surface using image acquired from an overhead perspective using electromagnetic radiation in one or more regions of the electromagnetic spectrum reflected on the emitted on the Earth's surface. So it will be this technique. Usually, in many cases, it use the electromagnetic spectrum, which is already naturally available. And based on that, there are two types of remote sensing which we will be going through it. And there are some milestones through the history of remote sensing. So initially it was a balloon, like a balloon. They fit the cameras on balloon. Then there was a pigeon. On that, they fixed the camera and took the photographs. Then the invention of aircraft came up, and then they fixed the camera. So that will be the more beneficial process. And then later on, it will be the satellite remote sensing. So these are the major milestones of the remote sensing. We'll be going through the history of remote sensing. So in 1859, so there was a like a camera which was fitted on the balloon, and you can see the image here, the captured image. And then 1880, they fit the camera on kite and they took the photographs. So likewise, the pigeon thing was already told, and then the invention of aircraft by Wilbur Wright and other people. So then it fitted the camera on the aircraft. So in World War, it has helped a lot. The planes replaced the balloons and pigeon in the observing the enemy's lines. Then aerial photographs were strongly developed, and photos were used by the world nations for the aerial reconnaissance. And then at the end of the war, this new technique was very much appreciated for this, like finding out the enemies and where to target the like like a present we didn't have that time the radar and other things, so they use the aerial photographs to locate the enemies, and then they launched this missiles and other things on that. So then it comes to the next steps of the remote sensing, which will be the observing the other planets or a moon. So Apollo's 8 program, they use the remote sensing technique to taken pictures of the moon, and also they took a pictures of Earth from the surface of the, at the angle from the moon. And this is the link which people can go through browsing. Then Apollo 9 also, it has a multispectral band. The earlier one was a panchromatic, but the next one was a multispectral, which used the combination of the colors, and then hyperspectral also. So which gave rise to the a compositional thing also it can give. And then this is the kind of we know the history of remote sensing, how through the time it has acquired many milestones. So going through basics of remote sensing. So many people are of a different background with not in geology or environmental science, but other. So for them, these are the major component of remote sensing. You can see here. So this A is a source of a light. A component, the energy source of the illumination. Then B is the interaction with the atmosphere. The C is interaction with the target, whatever your target is, like any dense forest or any geological feature or any like a pigments kind of a thing, and it depends on the what kind of sensor you use. Then light again, once reflected, it again get interacted with the atmosphere, and then it went to the sensor. So everything is depend on the sensor. So what kind of a sensor you have fitted on, what frequency you want to observe, what wavelength you people are interested in. So accordingly it will absorb the light, and it will give you the spectral signature. So D is the one of the most important thing. And then E component is the transmission, reception, and processing of the image in a ground station, and F is the interpretation and analysis according to whatever the interest of the people is. If somebody is interested in the mineral prospecting, then they can use the different band of absorption, and then spectroscopy, also spectral bands, so they can extract the few bands of the basic spectral signature of different minerals. So based on the source of the light, the remote sensing can be grouped into two. So active remote sensing is it use its own energy source, that is we use the laser altimeter or for generating digital terrain model. So in that it can use artificial source. And then passive is it use the radiated energy by sun. So you can, many of you have seen this figure, like electromagnetic spectrum. So electric and magnetic fields are actually perpendicular to running perpendicular to each other, and then this wave, it is a classical physics type of thing, electromagnetic wave. The flow of energy at the universal speed of light through free space or through a material medium in the form of electric and magnetic field that makes an electromagnetic waves, which we all know. We have seen this, we have observed this, and we learn this in like a 12th or 11th. So this is the very basic thing. And electric and magnetic field are mutually linked with each other at the right angle. That also we all know. So this is the electromagnetic spectra. It start at the gamma ray and it went to the radio waves. But what we observe is the visible spectra, that is uh, zero point 0.4 to zero point 0.7 micro wavelength, and then we can see there is an infrared. So in these and near infrared, we usually use the visual as well as the infrared band, so to characterize different features. So the passive, it has a visible wavelength and the infrared. So passive remote sensing, and the active is the laser, which we have already discussed. Then interaction with the atmosphere. The incident energy is not reflected or transmitted, but it can transform into the another form. So it absorbs the energy, and then atmosphere absorbs the electromagnetic radiation by the three main constituent. That is, first is ozone. It absorbs the harmful UV rays. So we all know we are all hearing the news about the ozone layer depletion, and how this affect the, and how it cause the global warming and other thing. Then CO2, that greenhouse gas effect, and water vapor also. So based on that, scattering has three types. One is called relay scattering. In that, the particle size, that is the any dust or cloud or anything, the particle size is less than wavelength of the light. So light means what we are absorbing for the by the sensor. So that is particle size is if less than the wavelength of light, then it is called relay scattering, and it was the blue color of the sky. And we have the Mie scattering, where the particle size and wavelength of light is equal. And the non-selective scattering, where the particle size is greater than wavelength, it causes and fog and cloud. So depends on the weather condition, we choose the scattering for the sensor, so that we will be not missing the useful information. So interaction with the target, the first it will be absorption, then transmission and reflection. So reflection is what we are absorbing the detecting the reflected light. So in that, we have on the rough surface we'll be having a diffusion, and on the smooth or mirror like a surface we'll be having like a single directional energy transmitted, like a reflected. So and then recording of energy by sensor. This will be the most important, and this one component only decide what are the purpose of your work, and what is the aims of your objectives, and accordingly we have to design this like sensor. So after energy has been scattered by or emitted from the target, we require a sensor, a remote, that is be the remote not in contact with anyone. So and to collect and record the electromagnetic radiation. So it absorb that whatever you have fitted on the sensor. So if you are interested in the multispectral band or the panchromatic band or a grayscale, accordingly you, when you have the camera, then it can sense the energy. So transmission and reception and processing. So directly to the ground receiving center, the one component requires like it will send the whatever data and like a digital form data into the ground receiving center, and it can process. There are some which records and later process the data, and on itself it can process the data also. Then interpretations of the image can be done in different first will be the identification of the landforms, any like a features, then delineation, how the landforms are, the landforms and other things are there. Then the infrared imageries can enhance the resolution, that is the, it can create a false color composite that will come in the next slide. And the radar imageries and the resolution. Similarly, identifying characterizing the images, it requires the patterns, association, tone, shape, and size of the object. So it will be like a tone. In this image, you can see the grayscale tones, and then textures, then pattern. Uh, we have the some similar patterns of the drainages or any other conical shapes or circular shapes. So we can to identify those, and then shapes. This symbol in that consist of some shapes of the some marking of the areas where it has been marked, and that has been captured by the images, then size of the object, and then association. So association is very important as far as geological application is concerned, because if we have the stream, then we should get an their tributary streams and main streams and other things like that only. So making a drainage map or something like that. So coming to the what the topic which given to me by the organizer. So it will take a bit of time, or if you have any questions, people can ask out of this. So whatever we discussed earlier is a basic principle of remote sensing and how it works, and many people know this like what is the principle of remote sensing and how the sensor works and other things. So main applications of the remote sensing is like Earth observation and environmental monitoring. The first is monitoring climate change and the global warming. So how it went out, and then it sends the data for the different time interval, and then it can gather into the temporal scale, and then you can predict the model for the like a climate change and the global warming also. And then second is the tracking deforestation and land use land change map. So this will be the land use land cover kind of a map, which can be used with the temporal resolution of the data set, and which can give the like how this area has been utilized for different purpose. You can characterize those into different sets. So it will come up in the next slides, and then studying natural disaster and their impact. So it will kind of a landslide, or if we have the forest fire or anything, and then monitoring air and water quality. So that also be done by the remote sensing studies. So the first will be the degradation of the ozone layer. So what I have already told you. So this was like a first image was in 1982, and then in 2011 we can see the uh, ozone hole over the Antarctica, which was discovered by the British scientists, and then later on in 2011 again revisited by the people, and you can see there is a hole in the ozone layer. So which people are saying that that is the reason, because we can see the experience the higher rise in temperature what we experienced this year also. So we had around in Ahmedabad we have around 46 degrees also. So that is because of the many people are saying this. There is a hole in ozone layer, which is that hole is not blocking the IR and the harmful rays from the like sunlight, and then it enters to the atmosphere, and later on it can cause the greenhouse gas effect and so. Then meteorological sensors. So you can see tracking of cyclones and many things are there. It depends on that what we discuss the scattering. So depend on the sensor, we can get an tracks of this cyclones and the cloud cover and other things. So it will be like using a large scale images or a satellite which has a larger scale, so that it can cover the thousands of kilometers. Such a large scale cover was valuable for meteorology, and in 70s it has been invented. Then you can see the application of remote sensing in urban and transportation. So planning the roads, infrastructures, and other things like you can see the lower image where there was the agricultural land was going on agricultural practices, and later on it has been acquired for the civil like urbanization, and then road alignment and where to put in roads, like delineating different features, like any making of a tunnel, it should not pass through the fault and other things. So and then it can be used for the like city expansion, then cities boundaries by time, and wetland delineation. So wetland delineation is like we can get in a synthetic aperture radar kind of radar uh, data set, so that it has a kind of a like a few meter penetration, and then we can estimate the moisture and water content of this soil, and then we can do some field work based on that, and we can choose the where to like expand your city and where to not go for the construction of buildings, so that it won't collapse. You can regularly within a month you are hearing the news that some big buildings are like submerging, and slumps it collapsed because of this weak foundation. So in that case, the remote sensing is very important for the making and construction site like to choose primary construction site, and then definitely the field element is very important, but it can suggest that primary like investigation can be done with the help of a remote sensing. And then in agriculture, a lot of things are like can be done with the help of the remote sensing. So like first is the crop monitoring and yield for like forecasting, then precision farming and optimize resource management. Then the applications, major application include the soil sensing. So that is very important things. So we can get a texture of the soils based on the hyperspectral data set, so that we will be getting to know what are the major deficiencies in the soil. And then farm classification accordingly based on the soil. We can do the farm classification and the farm conditions assessment. Then agricultural estimate, so which area to choose for which crops and other things. So these are the like a broad suggestions we can give based on this data set. And mapping of farm and agricultural land characteristic, and mapping the like managing the different lands and other. So you can see the natural resource management also you can do. You can see the temporal images of this 1973, 76, and 86, how this land has been used for different purpose, and we can see the patterns of like like a deforestation and other things. So this will be like a natural resource assessment. In that, will be using this water resource management. The remote sensing can be used. Then habitat analysis, then environmental assessment, and then disease or pest outbreaks in the farmland or any other areas. And then impervious surface mapping. Then hydrology remote sensing has a lot of applications. Like you can estimate the based on that. You can generate a groundwater flow model, as well as the your surface water flow based on the watershed analysis, and then watershed mapping. Based on that, you will get an general water flows map, and where you can manage, and you can manage the natural resource, and you can conserve the water. Later on, it can be used for the agricultural purpose. Then mineral province and geomorphology, that is the major like outcome for this base of the hyperspectral remote sensing with the different bands. So mineral prospecting is one of the major aspects of the hyperspectral remote sensing, where we can choose the particular band, and we can extract those bands for the different minerals like we are interested in, like different groups of mineral, like we have the lead, zinc, and other ores of the ions, and then your uranium, lithium, and other things. So based on that, we directly won't get this constituent element, but we will get to know about what are the host rock, and what are the prospective of getting those minerals in those terrain. So along with that spectroscopy, we should know the what are, we should understand the what are the association of major uh, ore minerals and other thing. And then geomorphology obviously has a lot of application, because it can generate a large scale morphological maps of the any areas, and then we'll get to know about this what are the conditions and what are the landforms based on the visual observation, as well as using digital elevation terrain model. And then you can see the satellite image of the same area where with the different data sets. So radar image in upper like our top image, you can see the along that road line, you can see the deforestation. So that deforestation management also being done by the using remote sensing, so that how much the trees have been cut by the road construction people, and there are rules of building the making a new road construction, so that you can easily use this what the amount of the trees they have cut, and then you can replant those trees at some suitable site. So the major thing is land use and land cover map. So land cover means any surface cover on the ground which can be include vegetation, urban infrastructure, water, lake, mountain, transportation network, building, or any others. Like any land use and land cover means once the land was covered by the some forest or agriculture or any other land, and then it has been covered up by some other thing like making an urban planning, building, or some making of lakes, and for the transportation network, the building of the like a road construction or any other things. The attribute measured by the remote sensing technique relate to the land cover from which land use can be inferred, particularly with the ancillary data or the prior protection. So the next slide you can see this will be the very much important for the people who are working in environmental science, where they classify by pixel. These are all filter we use usually in QGIS. We used to do this kind of thing, but you can see this IRS Dehradun, that is ISRO center. So they provide these kind of data, and you can do the supervise as well as unsupervised classification for different spectral signature of each leaf of each trees, and accordingly you can classify them, and you can extract them in kind of a percentage, and you can make a map out of it, and you can correlate the what are the species and other things are there. So this is the method we usually use in UGIS and ArcGIS. So for the processing the data, so you can see minimum distance to mean, and then parallel pipe classified, and Gaussian maximum likelihood classified. So accordingly, with these kind of a technique, you can make a global nationwide map of the country based on that. Make the sliding the filters of the different spectral signature, and it can easily extract those things from this. So we should know this how to make this kind of a map, and it can be used for the multi-purpose studies. So this is vegetation cover type mapping. So national and regional thing. So you can see the forest cover. You can see the index legend here, and you can correlate those maps. So you can use the land cover as well as everything is there. Like from starting from the like temperate coniferous forest to the your settlement as well. So it can use many things like it is not actually in this method. It is not actually required to manually map the things. You should have the knowledge of the QGIS, that GIS softwares, and then it can do it by their own, and it can supervise your classification, and it can give you the product. So accordingly, the land this drought map also can be done generated, and many maps can be generated with different parameter for the agriculture as well as environmental assessment purpose. So this is the one of the example. This Srivastava and Sundar in IRS Dehradun. They did it in Panchamari Biosphere Reserve, Central India. That is above this Satpura range and Tapi and Satpura, near Satpura range and other things. So they made this moist deciduous forest and other it is all filter we have to give into that software, and then it generate the maps. So this is the most important for the environmental science people. And then community and species level mapping of hyperspectrum. This is the different spectra used in classifying those signal, and you can see the mixed signal and mixed stars and mixed something is there. So for before adding those filter, we should know that software or that filter should have the calibrated values of those deeps of those plants, so that it can supervise them into that class, and then it can generate easily a map. You can see mapping of the lost forest cover. So you can see this image in 1994 and 2000. It can easily be seen that this the forest covered area has been converted into the stream, and then a lot of mass wasting has been occurred in that. And the next example, we all know 2013 in Kedarnath, there was a cloud burst, and there's you can see before that it was compact land with a lot of vegetation in these two circles, and now we can later image you can see these mass wasting features, like it smoothed this all this land from here to the that stream river, and then loss of a forest area, then your this vegetation and everything gets occurred due to there are some many reasons are there are many papers on that. If you google onto the 2013 Kedarnath this cloud burst, there are many articles by the geology and environmental science people as well. So we can see the output of those product, you can make an vegetation type and land use map of the India. So that is uh, made by the IRS ISRO, and then you can see the biological richness and land use map of the India. And then this is again, this remote sensing is being used for the types like forest fire mapping as well. So there are three types of the forest fire, that is ground, and so the latter one is the surface fire, and then ground fire. So these three can be it has different causes. So you can see this map can be generated temperature region maps versus the forest occurrences. So it can, based on the remote sensing data, as you can see that from January, this is 2012 year. So from January to June, you can see the in May everything is red, and we have a lot of like a temperature rise in temperature, and then there are places where the forest fire occurred in that same year. So it can with the different like months. So January, February, you can see, and in March we have a lot of these forest fires. And later on, it can be put into the GIS platform, and it can be made a map of the of all, like a nationwide map based on the remote sensing data itself. So how to detect this forest fire and on the remote sensing images? So you can see if your sensor is going while it was a fire. So there was a fire there, your sensor will go up, and we have this images of the false color or a true, either false or a true color composite. So you can see the smokes, and the smokes direction itself can say the wind direction of the, like when there was a forest fire. So you can see there are a lot of thing, a lot of this white dot and linear things is connected with that white. So it is a kind of a forest fire. It is nearby Hyderabad in 2000, I think 13 or something. So this is been generated by NRSC, National Remote Sensing Center. That is also ISRO center. And then looking going one more step into the remote sensing. So this will be the for Earth. Now we can see that there are other planets where the remote sensing can be applied. So you can see this is the map of Mars, where this has been taken by the NASA Mars Global Surveyor, and this is a Mars orbital laser altimeter. So this laser generated digital terrain model is there. So you can see the scale and other things. So this one has used its own like a energy source, that is when it is called as a passive remote sensing, where this active remote sensing, where it has used its own laser, like energy source in the form of laser, and it has generated digital elevation model. So this is the kind of a global, what we saw the our like a world map, where the sea, oceans are there, and then there are land. So likewise, we have the map of Mars. And then this is the geological mapping based on the remote sense data for the Mars, where we have a lot of like streams and many evaporators and the alluvial fan, and then we can generate an elevation profile for the stream. So you can see the stream as it seems like it has a linear things like Earth. And then you can generate the models for the stream. So this is the image of Mars and Earth, where we can, this is both are the remotely sensed images based on the different sensors. So this is from HRSC Mars, and then this is a Google Earth image, where Landsat images were used. So it can be used for the generating digital, like after digital elevation model, out of that we can generate an stream network, that is the drainage map, and then the control map of the area, to understand what are the three-dimensional aspect of the area. Then based on those images only for the Mars, we can see we can observe this is the kind of a lake, paleo lakes, where the water was flowing on, like water was stagnant for some time, and we have this spectral like bands, where we can see this thermal inertia image, and then the spectral, where we can see the hydrated minerals with the different pixels. The graphs are there, and then there is a compositional payloads on for Mars also. So we can use that, and you can see this easily. This was the channel where there, and it has a remotely sensed data of around 6 meter per pixel. So that will be the one of the best resolution. And then we have this the most advanced step of remote sensing, where we have the image of this uh, sorry, the next step is flying some drone or on the other planet. So this will be the next milestone. And this was the next milestone for this remote sensing thing, where they deployed the helicopter called Infinity on Mars. So and it flies for some time. So it took around more than 25 flights, and then it went out like a dead. So it has a solar panel as well as, so this also took the a lot of images. So you people can see, and you can search on Google. So there's one video, if you people are interested, I'll play. Here you can see this in the left hand side. This is the that Ingenuity helicopter where it fly, and it took a lot of photos. And this is in the right side, you can see the shadow. So this image was captured by itself by Ingenuity, the right one, and the left one was captured by the Perseverance rover, which is like standing away from that Ingenuity helicopter. And then it uh, generates in three-dimensional as well as the image, like a panorama of image, and it can be helpful for the directing your rover. So this is kind of a next step in the history, where some flying object is found on the other planet, except this what we flew on moon. So in Apollo era, but now we are targeting. So like in Mars thing by NASA. So India is also planning for such a mission. So you people can see the link, and you can sub the video as well. So then next is, there's a one like a site. Mostly many people are known to this site, but I'll just show you how this remote sensing can use for the weather forecasting and then predicting the weather. So this is the site where it is named Windy. So where you can see the India here, and then it can show you the wind direction for the different times as well. So if you play this in the lower area, so it show you the prediction of the different layer. So you can choose the layer accordingly. So if you are interested in wind direction, or you are interested in the cloud cover, so you can see this. So cloud, how for the like a next 10 days or 15 days, how the cloud are moving. So this kind of prediction can be done based on the remote sensing data and GIS platform only. So these are the major application. If people can look into this site, you can surf, and they can see this rain accumulation and many other things, and temperature, as well as like many layers are there. You people can look, and if you have any questions, you can ask. So I think this is the last slide. Yeah. So these are the major applications of remote sensing, but it has many application in even a pigment level absorption of the soil, as well as the some substances. So it has achieved the next level. So there is a one mission called Mishra, NASA ISRO synthetic aperture radar, which has a lot of penetration, and it can be used for the agriculture as well as like environmental and geological purpose to detect the changes in the like tectonic moment and other things also. So that is about to launch in this December 2024. So it will, before that, if you can acquire that how to process the NISA data, the tutorials are available on the ISRO site as well as NASA site. So it can generate a, being in the Ph.D, people should focus on the generating the publications. So that has the most potential of generating, like making a many publication, even a monthly publications with the NISA data and on. So this is all from my side. If anybody has any questions, please ask. Hello. Hello, Ishan.
Yes, sir. Sir, am I audible?
Yeah, you are audible. If anybody has any question, this is just briefly. I talked about the application of remote sensing, more focused on the environmental and geological science. But though
Right.
it has applications in chemical science as well, so they
Mhm.
do the pigment level studies. So it if they are interested, they can mail me. My mail is there, and
Right.
if somebody has any questions, they can ask.
Yes. Sir, we will also be providing a list of your email ID and your phone number and all the speakers. So if any
Okay.
student has any doubt, they can personally send you a mail or
Yeah.
contact you.
No worries, no worries.
Anyone
Uh,
has any doubt about anything that sir has explained?
I think it was after lunch. No, everybody was sleeping,
Right, sir.
and I that's why intentionally I finished it in within 45 minutes. I think.
Right, sir. I think it is clear with everyone. We'll end the talk here.
Yeah, sure, sure.
Okay, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
We have our next lecture on types of plagiarism by Dr. Hrudanand sir, Mishra sir. He is an additional director, Faculty of Management from Nirma University. So I welcome you, sir, from on behalf of Research and Development of Kutch University. So you can start now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, good evening. Before start with the plagiarism and the type of plagiarism and the various softwares which are used in the plagiarism, any of the research, when you talk about the research, the plagiarism is the one of the important nowadays. So when I talk before 10 years or the 15 years, the plagiarism is not a issue at that time. Now the plagiarism is used in any of the research, whether it's a research paper, whether it's a PhD thesis, whether it's a project work or anything. So the plagiarized work, now it is very seriously taken by the many of the institution as well as the UGC also. So UGC has mandated the various things for the plagiarism, like penalties, punishment, and the various other things. And there are the cases within India and outside the India, the plagiarism spoil their careers. So we'll start with the what is the plagiarism and the type of plagiarism. Let me share the screen. I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now screen is also visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It is visible.
Okay. 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 So the word plagiarism over a period of time, when you talk about the plagiarism, so many people think of plagiarism as a copying another's work or borrowing someone else's original idea. But the term like copying and borrowing can cover the seriousness of the offense. So you cannot say that the copying or the borrowing, right, is a plagiarism. It's a serious offense, right? Over a period of time, it is considered as the serious offense. So the Merriam-Webster online dictionary, which defines the plagiarism, which means the to steal and pass off the idea or the words of another as one's own. So some of the work done by anyone, and you are using that work, and you are saying that this is my own work. So that is the case of the one of the way of the plagiarism, to use another's production without crediting the source. Here, very simple thing is that if you are not giving credit to the source where you have collected your information or the data, so it means that you are plagiarizing the work. To commit literally theft, it means that you, in Hindi, which we talk about the chori karna. So directly you are taking from some other's work and you are saying that this is my own work, right? Fourth, with the to present as new or original an idea or production, a product derived from the existing sources. So you are presenting the idea or the new or the original idea, and you are saying that this you have collected from the existing sources, and you are not given the credit. So it will means that you are copying from some other's work. So in other words, the plagiarism is an act of fraud. It involves both stealing someone else's work and lying about it afterward. So over a period of time, you understand that the plagiarism is the act of fraud. It means that you are copied, you are done you are taken the other one's work, and you are saying that this is my own work. This is a case of the fraud. And in India, when you talk about the fraud, there are the punishments. So plagiarism is also a case where the punishments are there in the in UGC. They have given the various punishments or the penalties which is for the plagiarized work. So plagiarism, generally universities or the journals, they consider the plagiarized work, that is 10% of similarity is acceptable. If it is more than 10%, then over a period of time that will be considered as the plagiarized work. But can words or idea really be stolen? Yes. As per the US law, yes. The answer is yes. The United States and many other countries, the expression of original idea is considered as the intellectual property, and it is protected by the copyright laws, just like an original invention. So you can see that the book, in a particular book, you can see that the copyright. So it's a copyright of that particular author or that particular publisher. So that particular is used, that the over a period of time you cannot use that book the same as the words used in that particular book. So almost all form of expression fall under the copyright protection as long as they are recorded in some media such as book or the computer file. They are considered as the plagiarized. So words and idea, yes, that can be stolen, right? So, and over a period of time, that is the way where the various books, they write that the copyright of this particular author or this particular publisher. Again, I will give you a scenario. Suppose a researcher, particular research project, he's in the halfway of his project, and he finds that another group of researchers, like Jones et al., has sophisticated described the stages through which the disease advances. So in that case, the researchers feel that he cannot possibly describe the stage better than the John et al., and decided to use it word for word in your paper, in that particular or the researcher's paper. So that is the case where the plagiarized work is there. So, but can you do this? Is it acceptable to use the John et al.'s work as is? Absolutely not. So attempting to use the ideas, the words, or the work done by earlier by someone else without giving them due credit is known as the plagiarism. So there are because we go for the literature review, right? In the Ph.D. or in any of the projects, we go for this literature review. And if you are not giving the credit to that particular author or the previous author, then it shows that your work is plagiarized, right? So and plagiarism is considered as extremely unethical. So when you talk about the UGC has come up with one of the paper which is mandatory for the PhD scholars, that is the publication, the research and publication ethics, right? So in that also they talk about the plagiarism. So plagiarism is very serious for the researchers because they have to be very careful when they are writing any type of article or the research paper or the thesis chapters. So does this means you can never cite the work of others researchers? Yes, you can. You can cite another researcher's work as long as you do so ethically and give them due credit. So you have to mention that this is the work of this particular researcher or the author. So you have to give the credit, right? आप किसी और के काम को अपना काम नहीं बता सकते. So that's why you have to give the credit that this is the previous work done by this researcher. On that basis, you are coming up with your research, right? How can you ethically cite another researcher's work? By clearly and completely acknowledging all sources you have referred to while conducting your research or writing your paper. So generally we give the bibliography, generally we give the footnotes, right, where we have mentioned very clearly that this particular the work is done by this particular author or this particular researcher. So you have to cite that. You have to very clearly give acknowledging the the previous authors. Now, this is the plagiarism. Now, there are various types of plagiarism, and that type is also important because sometimes it is an accidental plagiarized, sometimes it is a self-plagiarized, right? So there are 4 different type of plagiarism. That is the deliberate plagiarism, accidental or unwitting plagiarism, self-plagiarism, and mosaic plagiarism. First, start with the deliberate plagiarism. It occurs when you don't give due credit to the previous published work in your field and instead present this previous work as your own idea. So there are various authors, they have worked on your area, right? So when they are worked on your area and still you can you feel that you cannot work above than or more than this particular work, and you are using the same work and you are not giving credit to that particular author or the researcher. So that it means that you are deliberately going for the plagiarism, right? Another is you don't credit the technique you have used to conduct your research to the people who originally developed them. There are the various researchers, they have developed the various the methods or the various models. So you have to acknowledge them. You have to give the credit that this technique is used by this author. Like suppose I have worked in the area of the migration, that is the labor migration. So the first important model is given by the Michael Todaro in 1969, right? That is the base model for the migration model in any of the study. So everywhere I have seen that everywhere there it is given the very good credit to that particular author, and that is required because that particular author developed the model, not by you. You have developed the model on the basis of the previous researcher's model. So you have to be very clear that you have to give the credit to that particular author or the researcher. You pass off the opinion and idea of others as your own. You are doing deliberately that thing. So obviously it is a part of the plagiarism. So you find that the opinion and ideas of the other can be used as my own. So obviously that is a part of the plagiarism. So you have to be very careful. So any others author or the researcher's opinion and ideas which you are using, so you have to be careful that you have to give the credit to that particular author. Otherwise it is a part of the plagiarism. Why do researchers deliberate plagiarized work? First is the time constraint or the poor time management, which could push a researcher to plagiarize large chunk of material from the other authors, right? It is very clearly understood in the various studies that the scholars want to complete their work as early as possible, right? हम बोलते हैं ना PhD हम 3 साल में खत्म कर रहे हैं. Nowadays it is not possible that you will complete in 3 years, right? It is a coursework is there, then over a period of time systematic literature review or literature review is there, then there are experiments, so it will take time. So those who are in hurry, generally they plagiarize the work because they collect the junk of materials which is available on the website or the internet, and that is used in their research. So it shows that there are the time constraint or the poor time management that create the plagiarism. Second is the accidental plagiarism. You don't think that it is necessary to acknowledge the original author of a well-known fact, considering it as a common scientific knowledge. Sometimes we generally thought of that it is not required to give the acknowledgement or to cite this particular author because it's a common understanding or it's a common scientific knowledge that the global warming is causing the climatic change, right? But the global warming is causing climatic change is also the studies done by some of the researchers. It's not a common scientific knowledge, right? Over a period of time, somebody has worked on this area. So there is common scientific knowledge, but still somebody has given that particular knowledge to the that particular research. So you have to acknowledge that original author. So if you don't do that, that will create your work to be created as a plagiarized work. So it's accidentally you are doing that, because it's a common scientific knowledge, so I can put that thing, but it is a case of the plagiarism. So you have to be careful, right? There are the common and scientific knowledges are there, and which we feel that this is not required to be cite or to give the acknowledgement. So over a period of time, that is also the cause of the plagiarized work. Another is you make a careless oversight or error while writing down the references. That is important in any of the research, that over a period of time you have used the literature review, you have used the models of the any other author or the scientific experiment of any of the scientists. So you have to cite them, you have to give the reference, right? If you forgotten to cite a source or incorrectly cited it, it is a part of the plagiarism. It shows that you have copied from somewhere else. So you have to be very careful when you are writing down your references. You have to check with the chapter by chapter, or your research paper, what are the work done by the previous author, and whether you have cited, whether you have given reference or not, right? Another case is this is happen in various field, that there is a cultural difference. For instance, junior researchers from certain culture may feel that it is disrespect to alter the words used by the senior researcher, who is an authority in the field, right? So you are not altering the words, then it is a part of the plagiarism. So it's over a period of time, it is in the mind of the researcher that the mere senior ne jo bola hai, that is the absolutely right. So I cannot change that words. I cannot change that particular experiment. So that is the thing which is final. So there is no change in that, and I will copy the same. I will not alter the words. I will use what my senior have already done. So that is also one of the case of the plagiarism. Another way, that is another where the problem comes, that is there is a language problem. For example, if English is not your first language, and you may not be confident of your ability to paraphrase another researcher's work while retaining the original meaning. In this case, because if English is not my first language, if I am not, I don't have any knowledge of the English, then I'm not confident to paraphrase the another researcher's work, and I will retain the same original meaning. So over a period of time, that is a part of the plagiarism, because the meaning is same, words are same. You are not altering the words because you don't have the command over the language, right? So that's why the problem comes of the accidental plagiarism. Another is the original article is a highly technical description, right? It's a technical description, and you are incapable of paraphrasing. You are incapable of paraphrasing in your own words. This is especially true for the students or the inexperienced researchers, right? So they generally do what they do. They use the same words which is done by that particular original article. So over a period of time, that is a part of the plagiarism, right? Why today's time, why we talk about the plagiarism? Because plagiarism, in this case, you will lose your thesis, you will lose your career, you will lose your credibility in the academic field. So you have to be very careful, because now it is compulsory to undergo the plagiarism check before submitting your thesis, before submitting your article, before submitting your projects, right? Now, self-plagiarism. Self-plagiarism, yes, it is happened with the researcher many times, right? You republish one of your existing article, either in its entire article, or reuse the portion of your previous written test while authoring the new work, right? So That is a part of the plagiarism, because you are not giving the credit. You are not citing your paper, previous paper. So you have to be cite that particular paper, right? Suppose I have written a paper, I have written a research paper, and I'm using that paper, some of the contents in my current paper. I have to cite that particular paper also, right? So you have to be, whether it's your own article, still you have to give the citation or the reference of that particular article. Another case is that you combine your previous published paper to create one large article or even a book without acknowledging the previous article. Yourself, you are plagiarizing your work, right? So previously you have already published that particular paper, and you are creating the one large article or a book form without giving the acknowledgement or without acknowledging the previous article. It means that you are plagiarizing your own work, right? Why can't you use the text from your own published work? Although you can quote text from your previous published publication with the relevant citations. So a duplicate publication of previously reported data is very unethical. So duplication of publication is unethical. It's a part of the plagiarism, right? You can use the or quote the text from your previous articles with relevant citation or relevant references or relevant acknowledgement of that particular article, right? So suppose you are now, you know that you are doing the self-plagiarized, right? Your new paper could be deemed as the relevant paper, or it will be the paper which is rejected, which is copyright infringement. So over a period of time, it is not accepted in anywhere. So you have to careful, because I have the various papers which I have used in my one of the book. Yes, I have given the citation, I have given the references. So that is the way where you can use your previous work. You have to give the citation, you have to give your references, right? Without giving that, and you are saying that this is my original work, then it is a part of the plagiarism. Mosaic plagiarism occurs when you directly use the words or phrases from the source document without enclosing the extract text in the quotes or setting it apart as a block quotation. So generally we put the quotations in the quotation mark. Without that, you are using the words and the phrases, and you are saying that this is my own word. So automatically it is a part of the plagiarism. When you go for the plagiarism check, it is very easily found by the plagiarized work, right? So you give the quotation that this is the words or the phrases used from the various sources, and that sources you have to give, right? Another, that is you attempt to replace the words from the source document with synonyms without changing either the overall structure or the meaning of the original version. You are replacing the words, right? You are replacing the words, and without changing the structure or the meaning of the original version. So it means that you have copied from the some other article or the previous article. So you have to very careful in the way where using the words. Now these are the various types of the plagiarism, and how do the journal detect the plagiarism? Somewhere the journal reviewers or the editors, when you send a paper in any of the journal, it will be in the editor desk. So editor desk, first they go through the paper, then they send for the blind review. So large passages quoted verbatim from the source document, or large amount of text from the source document with very little modification. So this is the way where the editor desk find that whether the work is plagiarized or not. So they immediately reject your paper and inform you that there is a plagiarized work. So paper is not accepted for the review. So reviewer, when you talk about the reviewer of a journal, right? So what lead the reviewer to think that the authors have plagiarized previously published work? The first and the foremost is the author's writing style, right? Writing style varies considerably between the passages in the submit manuscript. So there is a variation in the passages. So there is no continuity, right? Variation in the passages, that also shows that there is some plagiarized work. Second, the level of English used is very different in different part of the manuscript. Somewhere in the review of the paper, I have found that somewhere it is used the British language and somewhere it is used the American English, right? So in the manuscript part, the different parts, if somewhere it is the British English or somewhere American English, it shows that there is some work which is already published and that is copied from the somewhere else and used in this particular paper. Third, the reviewer is familiar with the work that has been plagiarized. So reviewer must know that if you are working on that particular area, so the reviewer also worked on that particular area, so they know that what are the papers or what are the work already done, and he very easily find out whether your work is plagiarized or not, right? So you have to careful when you are submitting any paper to any journal. Now here, before moving forward, the journals, right? Nowadays there are a lot of journals which are, many of the journals are paid now, right? The paid in the sense they use the word manuscript handling charges, right? Manuscript handling charges and open access. In open access you have to pay, but if you are not opting for the open access, you have to, it will be published in the hard copy or in the form of the journal volume with your DOI number. But you have to careful that whether you are using that particular paper in open access or in the journal, you have to careful that this particular work is not copied from anywhere else. So that is because plagiarism, they immediately rejected the papers. What are the consequences of plagiarism? You could lose the tenure or the funding if you are going for any projects, right? If you are working somewhere else, you will lose your tenure, you will lose your funding, you could lose credibility in the academic community for the entire body of your work. So remember, don't take plagiarism lightly. If a journal detects any plagiarism in your paper, regardless of your intent, you won't be forgiven. So they never allow you to submit your paper, right? I will give you one of the example of one of the journal which I have sent the paper, and the plagiarism or the similarity index is 12%. So that paper is rejected, and the journal send a mail that don't send this paper again to this particular journal, right? 12%. So 10%, within 10% it is acceptable in that particular journal. If it is more than 10%, whether it's 11%, so they will not accept. And that paper is not again accepted by the same journal. So you have to careful. So don't take the plagiarism lightly, right? Because ठीक है, plagiarism है, क्या फर्क पड़ रहा है? मगर when you talk about the plagiarism, your work will be rejected. You will not work, or you will not submit that you work for the many years, which will be the punishment by the UGC, right? How to avoid the plagiarism? The first, with the proper organization of time and the time notes, proper use of quotes, paraphrases and summaries, proper citation. These are the three important things where you can avoid the plagiarism. Organizing time and notes correctly help to avoid the last minute panic. For example, you are collecting the document information in index or the source card, where you have to noting the author, name of the book, page, publication date, and if it is a website, include the URL. So you have to give the sequence, right? You have, when you are referencing, you are doing this, correct? So Arrange the research by using the graphical organizer, such as the concept map, outline, Venn diagrams, right? So sometimes, generally, we do that. We do the planning, how we will conduct our research, or how I will conduct my own research. Like this: what are the causes of the civil war, and what are the effect of the civil war? Causes, we will find out the causes because there are the previous work done already, right? So we find out the literature on the causes. There are so many, right? There are some variables which are having the effect of the civil war. So what are the effect that the work is already done, and what is the difference you are doing? So for the literature, we generally use these type of diagrams where the causes, to find out the causes, there are the list of literature is available, right? On that basis of the causes, what are the effects on the of the civil war? There are the some of the results are there, right? What the different you will do on the basis of this, you can find out in your study or the research that we talk about the problem of the study or the rationale of the study. Now the second is the correct use of quotes, paraphrases, and summaries. Quotation gives the strong support to arguments, but must be placed within the quotation mark, right? So quotation that gives the strong argument, right? Strong argument to your work, but the quotation must be placed in the quotation marks. So we give the quotation mark, and that will be the strong support to your work, right? Paraphrasing, rework the ideas, words, phrases, and sentence structure of others, but must be told in your own words. Nowadays, you can find out the paraphrasing tools are available, right? Paraphrasing tools are available. Paraphrasing softwares are available. But one thing you must remember, that when you are paraphrasing, the meaning of that particular article or that particular research must not be the same as in the original article. So paraphrasing, yes, you have to careful in the paraphrasing. It must be told in your own words, and you will also use that what are the sources used in the paraphrasing need to be documented. You have to document that. What are the source used for the paraphrasing? So paraphrasing, it doesn't mean that you will put copy from your article and put it in the paraphrasing tool or the software, and that will gives you the different result. So it doesn't mean that the meaning is changed, right? Or meaning remains the same. So automatically it will be considered as the part of the plagiarized work. So you have to give the source of paraphrasing, right? Another is the summaries. You all know that the summaries we use, right? Summaries are used to put the information from one or several authors using your own words in shorter length than the original, right? We are summarizing work. We are summarizing the work of the various authors, right, in a very short length as compared to the original work. So when you are summarizing 5 articles, you cannot write all 5 articles in a very lengthy way, or the work they have done. So you have to summarize in your own words. So the summaries used in the sources used in the summaries need to be documented using the correct citation. So you have to give the citation to each and every author, right? Direct quotes. If you use someone else writing without putting it in quotes, you have deliberately plagiarized. So you have to put in the quotation, right? Quotation marks are required. So you are using the someone else writing and you are not putting in quote, then you are plagiarizing the work, right? And also putting in the quote and giving the source in your bibliography. So even if you add the source in your bibliography, still it is plagiarized because you have not put in the quote. So when you are putting in the quote, then it is not the work of the plagiarized, right? Paraphrasing. Be careful about the rewriting someone else's words. If your sentence use the many of the same words and grammatical structure as the original source, it could be constructed as the plagiarism. So when you are rewriting someone else's words, you have to be very careful that you will not use the same words, many of the same words, right? And the grammatical structure as the original source. The same grammatical structure, same words, so it will construct as a plagiarized work, right? So you cannot use the same words. You cannot use the same structure because now you are putting in your own words, paraphrasing the someone else's words. So you have to be careful that you will not use the same words or grammatical structure. Otherwise, it is a part of the plagiarism. When paraphrasing, be sure you are not just rearranging or replacing words. Very clear. You are not rearranging or replacing the words, right? Rewrite the paraphrase in your own words and credit the original source. So you have to you will write the phrases in your own words and credit the original source. You have to. Everything is depend on the how you are giving the credit, how you are giving the acknowledging the previous work, how you are working on that particular area and not using the same words. You are using your own words, right? Again, when you paraphrase your work with your own words, double check what you have written by comparing it with the original writing. With the original article or original writing, you have to compare that what you have written, right? Correct documentation and citation. All sources, material like quotes, paraphrases, summaries need to be documented using correct citation. So correct citation that talk about the author's name, title of the article, page number, publishing information, and the date. This is the correct quotation or the correct documentation. So you have to cite that and you have to give the detail of this. So many of these schools nowadays, many of these schools in many of these schools, they use the MLA style, that is the Modern Language Association, is an organization that provides the guideline for documenting and citing source during the research project. I have no idea that whether in the Kutch University what type of style is used, right? Many of the university they use the APA style, that is the American Psychological Association, is the another organization that provides the citation guideline. So APA's 7th edition is available, freely available in the net. So where you can find out that how to cite that, how to cite the various authors or various work already done. You can find out, you can go through the various journals where the references are given. Somewhere it is a MLA style, somewhere it is a APA style. So you can go through that also, where you can find out that how you can cite the various research work or the various work done by the previous authors. Original idea. Give credit to the unique idea others have thought of, right? Somebody has worked on the unique idea, right? You have to give the credit. You don't say that this is my own idea. This is the idea of someone else. So you have to give the credit to that particular idea. If you present the idea of another without crediting them, you have plagiarized them. So without giving the credit, it means that you have plagiarized the work, right? Obvious ideas like known fact don't have to be credited, but there are the facts which have to be credited, right? Somewhere it is not that the obvious ideas, it comes that it's which we talk about the climatic changes, right? So over a period of time, global warming is the cause of the climatic changes. So that is the idea That is the obvious idea. But over a period of time, someone work on that. So that's in that cases you have to give the credits. Now the copyright, it's a type of the work where it's a copyright for that particular work. The legal rights of creative artist or publisher to control the use and reproduction of their original work. So when you go through the particular book, right, or particular song or the movies or the published or the unpublished document, there is a proper way to place a copyright notice, and they give the copyright, first date of creation, name of the owner. So like example is given, copyright 2007 John Smith. So over a period of time, you can find out in any book, you can find out in the movie, the first start with the movie, it's give the duration, time, and this, and also the copyright, right? In the same way the songs. So there are the various ways they give the they take the copyrights, and copyright is over a period of time, it's a legal, right? If I am just using the same work and you put it in the any journal, so anyone can those who have a copyright on that particular article, they can claim on me whether you have taken the permission or not. Without permission, how you can use that? So it's over a period of time, they have a legal charges on you without taking the permission from that particular author or the creator. Copyright notice, check to see if any copyright notice are anywhere in the article. If so, make sure you cite the article in your bibliography or the work cited, right? There are the various papers, various articles which is available in the web. When the web-based articles are there, if there is a very clearly mentioned in the watermark that the don't copy, it means that there is some copyright, right? So some copyright is there. So if so, make sure that you will cite the article in your bibliography or work cited. Otherwise, it's a part of the plagiarism, right? If an article doesn't have a copyright notice, you should still document by using the proper citation guideline, right? I will give you the very good example of the plagiarism. Here recently, I have seen that one of the researcher presented their proposal, right? And the member of that particular committee who is taking the proposal presentation, right? So they have given the suggestion that you have to change the topic, this and that. But the same proposal is used by some other, the one of the member in the panel, and used as an article and published somewhere else. So that particular researcher claimed on that particular author or the person. So over a period of time, they have to face the court hearings. Now this is a case of the criminal cases, one of the part of the criminal cases. So now they are facing the court hearings. So you have to very careful when you are giving or you are writing anything. You have to give the citation. You acknowledge that particular author. You give the full detail of that particular author and in your bibliography also. Ignorance. Some student unintentionally plagiarized from online sources. They do not understand all the rules for the properly using and citing sources. I cite the website, didn't I? So over a period of time, nowadays, when you talk about the master students, I have seen that the master students, they don't understand the rule of plagiarism, or they don't understand what is the proper use of citation, right? So they just copy and paste it. So when we go for the plagiarism check, we find that there are the cases of plagiarism which is more than 10%, right? So you have to careful. Unintentionally don't go for the online sources. You have to give the citation of the online sources also, because nowadays we give the URL, right? URL also given for the citing that particular article. Remember to avoid the danger of plagiarism. Don't serve the paper mill. Don't use the web to look for the easy paper sources. Don't turn into other students' paper as your own. So you have to keep in mind this thing. If you do this thing, so automatically it comes under the plagiarism. Don't serve the paper mills. Don't use the web to look for the easy paper source. Don't turn in other students' paper as your own paper. The consequences of the plagiarism can kill your careers. You may fail a course. You may be dismissed from the college or university. That is the punishment or the penalty which is nowadays the UGC very clearly mentioned in their academic integrity. So they have very clearly mentioned what are the penalties or the punishment for the plagiarism. From less than 10%, nothing. 10 to 40% there is a 40 to 80% there is 80% and above there are the punishments, right? There are three examples are there. Jason Blower, a former New York Times reporter, plagiarized sources and fabricated stories. In his 20s, he was at the top of the journalism world. Now he is disgraced, unemployed, and not yet 30. So, as a New York Times reporter, right, plagiarized source and fabricated the stories. So in his 20s, he is very famous journalist. But over a period of time, which is he is disgraced and unemployment and not yet 30. That is a case of the plagiarism. Another is the Stephen Glass, was a writer for the New Republic magazine in 1990s. He made up stories by inventing people, organizations, and events. He also plagiarized other writers, and he was fired and had to go back to school to find another career. Right now, he is a lawyer, but he loses his career as a writer. So over a period of time, there are the plagiarism work which is found in the various Indian universities also, right? One of the university I have seen that that particular professor, that particular the person is the professor, and after 15 or 18 20 years after, his work is checked and it is found plagiarized. He is now the assistant professor in that particular department. So yes, in the highest position of the department, that is the professor, now he is a assistant professor because of the plagiarized work. So you have to very careful when you are writing anything in your research. So researchers need to gather and use the credible information to support a research project. But it is dishonest to present the words and the ideas of someone else as your own without credit. So it is very good that the credible information to support your research project. But it is dishonest to present the words and the ideas of someone else as your own without giving the credit. So it's a purely a plagiarized work. It's purely plagiarism. So you have to very careful when you are talking about the plagiarism. This is with the plagiarism, right? Right. Now, if you have any questions, then we will. Otherwise, I will start with the software. Any question, any doubt, any clarity?
સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ પ્લીઝ પોતાને અનમ્યુટ કરીને સરને રિસ્પોન્સ આપો પ્લીઝ.
किसी को समझ में नहीं आया हो, किसी को कुछ डाउट है तो पूछ सकता है, नहीं तो फिर मैं या प्लीज. Otherwise, I will go to the software. How the softwares are used. Okay. Now this is the PPT is visible, right?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay. So now the nowadays the one of the major anti-plagiarism tool, that is the Turnitin, and many of the universities, many of the journals, they use the Turnitin to check the plagiarism, right? So we talk about the plagiarism and the main objectives and UGC. When talk about the UGC, the content to be checked necessarily under the guideline of the UGC, right? So here, just check that. In the research paper, thesis, chapter in book, any other similar work, full-fledged book, dissertation. So in these, the plagiarism check is required. And over a period of time, that is the Turnitin, very easily you can use that to find out the plagiarized work. Content not to be checked necessarily under the guideline of the UGC, that is the assessment, term paper, project reports, coursework, essays, or answer scripts. So these are the part of the academic, which we talk about the assessment part, where it is not used the plagiarism check. Now the levels of the plagiarism, which is given by the UGC, that is the level 0, similarity up to 10%, level 1, similarity above 10 to 40%, level 2, similarity above 40 to 60%, and level 3, similarity above 60%. Now level 1, level 0, that is the similarity up to 10%, minor similarities, no penalty. But when we talk about the level 1, similarity above 10 to 40%, such students shall be asked to submit a revised script within a stipulated time period not exceeding, right? So you have to submit the revised manuscript or the script in a stipulated time period, right? Level 2, where the similarity above 40 to 60%, such students shall be debarred from the submitting a revised script for a period of 1 year. So you will not submit that particular script again before 1 year. So you have to complete 1 year, then only you can submit the revised script, right? Level 3, similarity above 60%. Such student registration for that program shall be cancelled. These are the penalties which is already mentioned very clearly in the academic integrity of the document by the UGC. When talk about the penalties in case of the plagiarism in academic and research publication, 10%, up to 10%, minor similarities, no penalty. Similarity about 10 to 40% shall be asked to withdraw the manuscript, right? 40 to 60% shall be asked to withdraw manuscript, shall be denied a right to 1 annual increment. If you are in the academic, shall not be allowed to be supervised for a period of 2 years. Level 3, where the similarity is 60%, shall be asked to withdraw the manuscript, shall be denied as right to 2 successive annual increment, shall not be allowed to be supervised for a period of 2 years. These are the penalties which is already given by the UGC, and that's why in all the universities are taking care of the plagiarism, and where they are using the various softwares. So when you talk about the softwares, this is the one of the software, that is the anti-plagiarism software, which we talk about the Turnitin. Software that searches the web for duplicate textual content. It may be standalone program installed in the user computer or function of a website such as the turnitin.com. And majority of the university are using the anti-plagiarism software like Turnitin to check the work, find out the work. Because when you talk about this particular software, there is a depository. When I submit one article, if I have not deleted that, it will go to the depository. And if I have opened the depository, so automatically it will go to the depository. Again, when I check, and it shows that there is a similarity, right? I will go one by one. These are the softwares where it is not freely available. It's a paid subscription based, and there are the software which is freely available, but there is a certain limitation or the limit for the checking the words on the various things. I will go forward, but before that, again, now you can see that the Turnitin, this is the Turnitin website, right? Now this is the Turnitin page where you can start your assignments or putting your articles. Like I have created the class name, that is the research, right? In this in the view, I can go the view. Here you can find that the paper, right, where I have submitted, and this shows that this percentage of the plagiarism. I will do one thing. I will again do that how it can be done. Just a minute. I have to delete one. Now I am submitting a paper. Now it is uploaded. I will confirm the submission. Now it is submitted. Now I will go to the assignment box, inbox. This Bayes differential I have submitted. So similarity, they are checking the similarity. I have to wait for that. So it will take some time to check whether somewhere it will take the 24 hours, somewhere it will take the 15 minutes, 20 minutes. That depend on the number of pages and the papers. Like this is the Bayes differential and this is the similarity. Now you can find out the similarity. Here I have just downloaded the similarity report. Here it can show that the 16% similarity from where. This is the vjim.edu.in. That is the journal where it is 11% of the similarity is there. So you can find out this similarity in this particular paper, right? Again, it will find out from the Sodh Ganga in Flipnet. There is a 2% of the plagiarism, right? So it automatically shows that there is a 16% of the plagiarism in this paper. Again, I will do one thing and I will download it in the current view. It will take one minute, like 1 minute. It will upload it. Now you can find out in the paper what are the plagiarized work which is already highlighted, right? There are in the different colors, which shows that this is highly similar, right? This shows the relatively less similar, but there is a similarity. and another color which shows that there is a less similarity, but the words are relatively same, right? Like this. Again, when you go to the originality report, where it shows that the 16% similarity index, 16% internet sources, 1% publication, 0% student papers. So this is the source where you can find out that the what are the sources from where it is found that the similarity is there, right? So here, when you talk about the plagiarism detecting sources like Turnitin, vast amount of web content, previously submitted papers, and the subscription-based journals and the publications, right? So that contain this particular detecting sources from where it can be detect your work, right? Submitted papers, web contents, subscription-based journal and the publication that will cover in this Turnitin. iAuthentic database over 60 billion web pages, 155 million content items, and 49 million work from the 800 scholarly publisher. So over a period of time, this covers this much, right? In the same way, the Blackboard, these are the various formats or the various softwares which detect the plagiarism. Some journals use the Turnitin, some journals use the iAuthenticate, right? So over a period of time, the journals have their own source of detecting the plagiarism. But over a period of time, in universities or the education institution, we use the Turnitin or the Urkund, which is now the name is the original, right? Which is done by the UGC. There are open sources, open access plagiarism detection tools like PlagScan or Plag Tracker, Copy Leaks, Plagiarism Checker, Dupli Checker, right? Plagiarism. So over a period of time, these are freely available, but there are the limitation of words to be check in the similarity check, similarity check in the software. So maybe the 1,000 words, maybe the 10 pages, maybe the 20 pages. That there are the some of the limitations are there. When talk about the Turnitin, yes, it's a web-based plagiarism detection software provided by the Turnitin.com. Turnitin is a tool to find and indicate the matching content. Turnitin plagiarism prevention tools generates the original report that shows how much of a document is original and cited from other sources or unoriginal. Here, one thing I want to mention here that the Turnitin nowadays use the AI content. In Turnitin, there is a one plugin is added, that is the AI, right? Artificial intelligence is also added because nowadays it is seen that the scholars or the researchers use the chat GPT, right? So the AI detection gives the idea that the how much is the plagiarized work through the various webs which is not covered in the Turnitin, right? So over a period of time, this is the one of the updation in the Turnitin as compared to the Urkund or the any other software. For the student to identify their mistakes or the weakness in the citation so as to improve their academic writing skill. Compare with huge collection of e-resources available around the world. Turnitin used by the more than 30 million students at 15,000 institutions in 150 countries. So you understand that what is the importance of this particular software, right? There are the people which are using this software. There are the students using, there are the faculties using, there are the scholars using. And over a period of time, the 15,000 institutions, right? 150 countries. Here it is the data for the institution, not the various journals. Journals also use the Turnitin. So the number is more. And over a period of time, when the the notification comes from the UGC, the uses increases. So Turnitin cover this database, right? Spinger, EBSCO, Procourse, Elsewhere, PubMed, Sage, cross-reference, Oxford University. So all these major database are covered in the Turnitin. Sources, electronic internet sources publicly accessible, published journal, books, proceeding, student submission in Turnitin. These are electronically available, and these are covered in the when they check the similarity. But sources which are not covered, that is the unpublished article or the papers, in-house repository or the in-house database. So these are not covered, but otherwise everything is covered. And this is the way how you can start your search, and this thing that I have mentioned very clearly, right? So like blue, no matching words; green, 1 to 25%, 24% similarity index; yellow, 25 to 49; orange, 50 to 70; right? Red, 75 to 100. So these are the level of indexes, right? This is with the Turnitin. Now I will go through the very fast. I will go through the one of the another software which UGC has recommended, that is the Urkund. Over a period of time, now it is a original by the Turnitin. I think I have forgotten the password. Just a minute. So this is the Urkund, where it shows that the how you can put it, because there is no paper in the folder, right? Now I will go back to inbox. Okay. Again, I will put it the same paper. Maybe there is some problem. I think there is some issue is going on. So I will show that. This is the Urkund which we talk about. That is this particular software is provided by the UGC. Urkund is an online test matching tool made available to all the university students to assist them with raising the quality and integrity of the student assignment. Here, the one thing is that the same way the similarity check and everything is there, but the one problem, it will take the time also. That is 48 hours for the report to be produced, and it will be sent to your email, right? Can be accessible with the academic integrity module to on all the students Moodles which are using nowadays. But this is the way where which can be worked. I don't know whether my login is not working, right? So here you can upload over a period of time. Stages are there, correct? So stages are there, and in that over a period of time, the time and everything will be put, and directly it will come to your email ID and gives the report. What is the similarity in your article as compared to the others, right? This is with the Urkund. But one important thing when you talk about the Urkund is that this particular software, and having the problem with this particular software is that when you check with the Turnitin, if the Turnitin shows that the 20%, so Urkund shows that the 40% or 50%. So there is a different way they are checking the similarity, right? Urkund doesn't have the that much of database or the web base, but Turnitin have the database and the web base, and over a period of time, that is the one of the important anti-plagiarism tool which is used by the various universities. So you have to be careful that because when I'm talking about the freely available softwares are there, we will go through that also. In the short time, I can explain. So this is the plagiarism detection tools, and that is the tools. These are the plagiarism detection tools. That is plagiar tracker or the dupli checker, plag scan, or these are the plagiarism checker. So these are the softwares or these are the tools which is available freely, right? Like plag tracker, fast pre-plagiarism detection tool that serves both website and the academic database by copying and pasting text or the file uploaded. Okay. So over a period of time, they have the free version, but in the premium version, you have the various files to be checked, grammatical check, or the multiple document can be checked. I will go to that comparison. Like this flag tracker or the dupli checker or the plagiarism, where what are the subscription option? Yes, there is a subscription option in the flag tracker. Dupli checker, there is a free online checker, or the plagiarism, there is a free online trial basis. Maximum word count is 5,000, right? Where it is a subscription base. And in the dupli checker, it is 1,000 words. And in the plagiarism, it is 200 words, right? So over a period of time, there are the limitations. When you take the licensed version like Turnitin, or your university take, or your library takes. So obviously you can use the multiple number of articles and multiple number of there is no word limit, right? So any type of test, any type of document, whether it's a PDF or anything, that you can be used, right? These are the other where 1 lakh words can be used, 2,000 words, 1,000 words, but there is a limitations, right? If I will go through the flag scan and check, I have 1,000 words, I have 1 lakh words I have checked, and over a period of time, when you submit to the journal, they will check by the Turnitin. So there is a difference when you talk about the plagiarism checked online, free available, and the licensed version, right? Because they have a most database which is linked or subscribed to that particular software, right? So this is with the plagiarism. Now the house is open for the discussion. Any doubts, any clarification, anything you can, and free to ask the clarifications or the doubts. I know you all are the young researchers, and this is over a period of time. This is the stage where you have to be careful in talk when I'm talking about the plagiarism. Any clarification or any doubts, anything we want to ask? Yes, please go ahead.
Sir, can you please share this PPT for further reference purpose?
Yeah, sure. I will send the PPT. Don't worry.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I think no questions, but I have some.
Just a minute, sir. अगर कोई પણ વિદ્યાર્થીઓને કાંઈ પણ પ્રશ્ન હોય તો definitely તમે તે unmute કરીને પૂછી શકો છો. Otherwise, sir, with your due permission, I can share your email ID to the student.
Yeah, sure. Anytime, sir. There is no issue.
And definitely they will contact if they need any suggestions.
Yeah, sure. Anytime.
Okay, so I think it was very elaborative lecture, sir. I missed it half an lecture mein bahar tha. But thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation in very short, time frame, and giving our students an opportunity to hear you and learn from you.
Any student have any doubt, anything, any clarity, email ID is there. So you can send the email ID, or anytime you can tell the group of students to connect with me. We can go for a video conferencing again. So there is no issue in that.
Thank you so much, sir. So, sir, thank you so much. And with your due permission, sir, can we close this session?
Yeah, please. Thank you all the students.
We'll meet tomorrow. And again, thank you so much, Mishra, sir. And now we all can leave the meet. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.